Alison Wilkins, terrifically tall with fabulous long legs, is the founder of the Brighton Wellbeing Company, who delivers massage at work and employee health coaching programs across Sussex, Surrey, Kent, and London. Alison's vision is to bring wellness into the heart of every organisation. She is passionate in supporting employees to take ownership of their health, which impacts their energy, performance, and creativity. As a speaker, consultant, and leader at Wellbeing at Work, Alison invites leaders to dare to care, creating a ripple effect of positive change that impacts the workplace and the wider community, encouraging resilience, compassion, and collective well-being. Welcome to the stage, Alison Wilkins.
By the time I was 36, I'd managed to orchestrate the best life. I'd had 2 manuals. The Manual of Social Norms was my first guidebook. It was knowledge imparted to me by my parents, my grandparents, my teachers, and anybody who I perceived to be an authority. I had another model that I wrote myself. Pushing Your Boundaries Workbook. Yes! Chapters 1 to 6 of my life had involved me getting through school, getting some qualifications, managing to get a job in a bank as a management trainee. My dad was overjoyed. I then decided that wasn't enough for me and I wanted to push my boundaries and impart a little bit of Alison Wilkins on the world. So I went to Australia, travelled around the world, did the year trip thing, where I met some incredible friends. I met my husband-to-be. We came home very briefly, and then off we went again, this time to California, where we lived for 1.5 years and a 6 months visa. Pushed my boundaries a little bit far that time, and when we were traveling across Texas and we got to an immigration stop, it all went a bit wrong. That's another story for another day. But I took voluntary deportation. We came back to Brighton. We set up home in Dave's hometown, 240 miles away from my hometown of Leeds. We renovated 2 houses, got married, had kids. Well, technically we had 1 kid at the time and I was pregnant. Life was good. Chapter 7 onwards had already been envisioned and had started to get into practice. We'd put an offer in on another house and sold ours. The next house was a wreck. And it was going to be the one that financially empowered us to be able to move on. We were going to bring up 2 strong, emotionally intelligent men. And then when they left home, which they haven't yet, we were going off travelling again because there was so much still of the world to see. The weekend, it consisted of us going to the park with a 3-year-old and having lots of fun in the sun in December, which was quite a rarity. We'd put up the Christmas tree, we'd had a dinner party with my in-laws, and Dave, under the influence, had imparted to everybody in the room how he wanted his boys to be brought up, which was really odd, because Dave wasn't like that. He didn't share like that usually. And then we saw the scan of our little baby. It was amazing. What a weekend. The next day, everything changed. Outside a gym in Brighton, ironically, under a danger of death sign, Dave had a heart attack so massive that there was no saving him. At age 38, he had a coronary artery that was fully blocked. All visions, everything, manuals went out the window, and we were catapulted into a world without Dave. Over the next weeks, months, years, somehow I managed to balance my grief and the grief of my family by gut instinct and by the support of my friends and my family. They were amazing. And for many years afterwards, I managed a world where I was in a cycle that I was stuck. There was a repetitiveness to my grief. September came. It was our anniversary, our wedding anniversary. Then there were all sorts of different birthdays and family celebrations that led us into December, where it was Dave's death, Dave's birthday, Christmas without Dave, New Year without Dave, and then finally Dave's anniversary of his funeral. As you can imagine, there was a lot of anxiety going up in those months. And then January, I used to pick myself up, take myself to my osteopath and go, heal me. Somehow I'd managed to make Christmas joyous. When you've got little ones, you can't help but be joyful at Christmas. It's incredible. But the Hot Wheels tracks, and the festive feast and the mask I wore to make sure that everybody had the most fantastic Christmas all took its toll. And I entered January exhausted and overloaded. One year, I'm not quite sure when, my osteopath said to me, let's do something different this year, Al. Picking you up and rebuilding you every January is getting a little bit too much. Let's try a treatment a month for a year. Okay, I did it straight away. Yes, let's do it. The next December, it was like I'd taken the lid off the pressure cooker. My grief was there. I still felt sad. But it wasn't an anxiety that was taking over everything. I was able to enjoy the month to a point. And that continued to grow and to develop. And my healing journey really started there. And it led me to zero balancing. It led me to health coaching, which have been at the forefront of my work and will continue to be so. Fast forward 18 years and we're here, we're strong, we have survived, we've driven each other mad and supported each other in equal measure, which I think is actually what a family does. We've got new members of our family. I have a new partner, I have a stepdaughter. We're doing well. What I've learned is that bereavement is deeply exposing. You're catapulted, center stage, all eyes upon you. It can be overwhelming and it can be incredibly uncomfortable. So if you are in that position, be kind to yourself. And if you're supporting anybody who's in that position, just listen. We don't need solutions. We just need to be heard. I've discovered that the body-mind connection is real. To support ourselves and to heal fully, we need to support our body, our mind, and our emotions. Self-care is an important part of that. In the early days, therapists are so important. Because when we're at our most vulnerable, we need somebody to listen to us without bias, without judgment. Because I said some weird stuff. I needed to be heard, but I needed to be heard without causing more pain. And finally, well, not finally, because I've not finished by any means yet, but the reflection element of what I've had to do for this talk. I wasn't sure if I was going to do this talk, but the reflection has unveiled a wisdom which has just been eye-opening. What I felt and what I recognized in these years where I thought I was fully healed, that I dealt with everything, I'm all right. I still felt shame. I felt vulnerability. I felt a lack of worthiness. And there was an element of guilt. So what I've been able to do is I've been able to step back, and instead of diving into those emotions like I would have done in those early years, I've been able to get a bigger picture, look at the bigger picture. And what the bigger picture's allowed me to do is to disarm those powerful emotions and to reframe them. So anger, the anger that I felt because Dave had died. Dave had left me and Dave had died. The anger that I was still here. The anger when people said things that were just silly and they shouldn't have upset me because they didn't mean it, because they had no reference, they had no manual either. They went in because my heart was so open, so exposed. But that anger's turned to compassion. Compassion. It's okay. None of us had the book. Nobody has had the manual. It's all good. The shame I felt as a result of perpetuating my pain, perpetuating that feeling in my body and making myself feel anxious for years. For years I got stuck. And I didn't realize that I felt that until 2 weeks ago. I now feel self-compassion. It's okay. It's okay. The vulnerability I felt because I had these 2 little ones, right? I had to get them to football and to swimming and to do these things and keep them happy and keep out, and I'm on my own and I'll do it and I'm busy, and I felt so vulnerable. I am brave. I am brave. The self-doubt I felt when I started writing this talk, because who am I? Who am I to share a talk about grief with you, an audience? I'm no expert. I'm not an expert. I'm worthy. I'm worthy. So I wanted to share 2 things with you. 1, my new manual, Understanding the Wisdom of the Big Picture. It's not very snappily titled. Transforming difficult emotions and patterns into kindness and self-empowerment. Do you recognise that lady on the front? She did. She did a TED Talk. And when I was dealing with the shame that appeared, I discovered on a website a quote that was so beautiful and it made so much sense, and I'd like to share it with you. And it says, when we heal shame in safe groups, we have the privilege of seeing someone sharing their vulnerability, of sharing their struggles. And when we feel safe, we share our struggles. And we're met with empathetic eyes, and we're met with loving nods of recognition. I thank you so much for your empathetic eyes and your loving nods of recognition. It's a bit of a leap to go from what I've been talking about to workplace wellbeing. Look me up. There's a QR code there, so if anybody wants to talk about how to support staff, to look after, to nurture and to health coach people, to support their productivity, their wellness in work, to make a better culture within the workplace, then get in touch. Thank you so much.